Guten Tag, I'm Andy Ryan, that's Dave DeWart. Dave, what have you been playing this week?
A little bit of DiveKick on my Vita.
A little bit of DiveKick. I've been playing DiveKick too.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yes.
It's two button fighter for the Vita. You only really need and the PS3 and I believe it's out on the PC as well.
Yeah, it's probably on.
It's probably on almost everything. It's developed by Iron Galaxy, correct? It's really weird because you can't move your character forward or backwards unless you jump kick or dive kick everywhere.
If you hit the kick button and you're standing, you'll go backwards.
Yeah, you'll hop backwards.
If you hit the jump button and you're standing, you'll just go up, and then you hit the kick button to go forward.
Yeah. So you'll wind up doing these little hops where you just kind of go like this all the way across the screen. And I've only played like dive and kick. I really haven't played any.
Dude, Dr. Scholl's is fucking broken.
Because she goes like this and then she can go down.
Yes.
Yeah, she has two moves on her.
Yeah.
Or two angles. The trick to that is just figuring out when she's going to drop on you.
But the point is, she doesn't. If you jump, she gets you with the cross attack. If you don't jump, she just waits until she's over you and drops.
And then drops on you, so you have to bounce back. Or kick forward. S-Kill's also really bad because he teleports.
Yeah.
And you can't see where he is. Or at least in the single player story mode. I haven't played online yet.
Neither do I.
Probably because it's like dun dun dun. Because every hit is a one-hit kill.
Yep.
It's always the last 10 seconds of every fighting match where you got a sliver of health on either side. But that's what makes it so much fun because it's like it doesn't take much to lose, but you have to win 5 rounds in order to go on. So.
And I think it's nice. I kind of like it for the same reason I like DOA. Is it's nice to have like an entrance fighting game for people that don't know all the super move sets and how to do a mega combo.
Yeah, I mean,
super ultra cancels.
DOA has like that super deep gameplay as well.
But it's DOA is the only game I've ever seen where people can just mash buttons and still win.
Yeah, and but when you sit and play specifically DOA, because I sat down with like the trainer, and it's like, okay, well you can hit back and high kick to block high moves and down and back and whatever. And there's a really deep gameplay. It seems like there's not a whole lot to dive kick.
That's the good point.
But you can use if you hit both buttons at the same time, your character will do some sort of special move, and each character's special move is different.
Special move sucks.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
It just drops down.
I don't remember doing a lot of that when I was playing through the single player mode. I was just messing around, just playing with dive kick. I think it was like what, $10. And it's got the good cross-buy for the PS3 and Vita.
It does, okay.
Because you can play it on your PS3 and your Vita, and you only have to pay $10 for it. I think it's like $8 if you're PS Plus.
Yep.
So it's probably $10 on Steam or wherever it showed up on the PC. So I've been playing DiveKick.
PC is those things you check your email on.
You can do that with a Mac or a tablet or a phone. You can't use Windows. You can't use MS Office on anything else, really.
That's not a plus. Anyway.
Yeah, no, it's not really a plus. So I've also been playing, and you've been playing this too, the Killzone Mercenary Beta on the Vita.
It's still Killzone. Yay!
I've never played a Killzone game, and particularly never really played a first-person shooter on my Vita. So it's been a new experience for me all around. It took me a few times to get into a match, like it would tell me my internet connection was lost. So I reset my Vita and it worked fine.
Yeah,
so it was probably just because my Vita, I don't play online a lot with my Vita.
Yeah.
And it's like I checked the store, see if there's anything free. Nope, okay. It's interesting. I've been having problems with the hacking minigame. He's been trying to explain it to me all morning.
It took me 3 tries to figure out the hacking minigame, and I was like, oh, so this is what you do.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh, you match the symbol with the stuff that's there. No, that's not what you do. You do the opposite of that.
Yeah, you have to match the center symbol with 2 of the other symbols.
Yeah, and but it's kind of fun. Like it doesn't have the fine-tuning aiming that you could do.
That's the one thing I really missed from Uncharted.
Yeah, it's like where you could tilt the Vita to kind of get a little bit of the fine-tuning.
Especially with the sniper rifle. I really wanted that when I bought a sniper rifle, and I was like, oh, yeah, I don't need this.
Now I'm going to win, and no. I haven't bought anything yet. I've just been like hoarding money or whatever the hell it is.
Have you gone to their online portal? Mm-mm. They have an online portal that tracks all your stats. You can even watch replays of icons on a map of like how everyone moves through and how you move through and where you died the most, so you can kind of figure out where your blind spot is and stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
But it's not like a first person. It's not like actual gameplay. But it's like we tracked where everybody was. It's like TF2 or not TF2. Counter-Strike. The Counter-Strike, when you died, you got that little overlay, and you could see where everybody who's still alive is.
Yeah, so this is a web portal you can go to when you're not playing the game.
Oh, okay. So, and you would have to sign in using, what, your PSN?
Yeah, okay. And it tells you, like I know that my favorite weapon is the M83 Garand.
But isn't that the one that you start with?
Start with.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's going to be everybody's for a while.
Yeah, but it also said that, like, I have the most headshots with that gun, and I have a higher headshot percentage than the average player by, like, 4 or 5 points.
That's cool.
I was like, oh, well, I'm going to go back and start using that again, because apparently I did a good job.
Well, and I'm sure you'll get a more accurate assault rifle at some point, or you'll get I don't know if there's attachments in this game.
I don't know. After playing a lot of Killzone, since it's been out, basically, I kind of always stick with that rifle.
That one assault rifle, and then it's like your shotgun as a sidearm instead of...
No, I usually use there's a silenced pistol, and then in Killzone 2 they introduce a machine pistol. So I would usually use one of those. But in Mercenary, they also show that the shotgun can ride side saddle with you as your secondary weapon. And in Mercenary,
because in multiplayer games, shotguns are fair.
Well, there's Vanguard bonuses instead of kill streaks. They'll shoot down a weapons loadout thing, a drone that you then access. You get a Vanguard bonus. So the Vanguard bonus can be anything from a front-facing shield to a freaking orbital laser, and it seems to be pretty random at this point. One of them is a little sneaky robot that will stab you in the back of the head and one shot kill you if you let it get near you.
I hate those freaking things.
That's why I have a shotgun, because I can just
flip around and blast it out of the sky.
See that it's coming behind me on the map, turn around and just
tap it a couple times and you're
fire
done.
off a couple shotgun shots.
That's good. I mean, it's a neat thing, and it shows that, you know, specifically to me, that a first-person shooter is playable and doable on the Vita.
Yes.
And granted, I still suck while doing this on a first-person shooter, but it does take some getting used to. Like, the first 10 minutes was kind of crappy, but then after that, I kind of got used to... You get used to the sway and how much play you have with the sticks, so how long you need.
And that's what a lot of people don't like about Killzone, is that in Killzone, all the Killzone games, you're a heavier guy.
You're slower.
You move slower.
But everybody's like that.
Yeah, there's more sway to your weapons. It's harder to get in scope to shoot things. As opposed to something like Call of Duty, where it's snap to target, snap to target, snap to target. Killzone doesn't do that. Yeah.
Well,
and it never has.
Well, or even like a Team Fortress, where there's all these different classes, so each class is super fast. You know, like the scout is super fast, the sniper's not so much, but he's
that's how you kind of get into that class thing is you can buy your own armor at the blackjack store,
the in-game store that uses all the in-game currency.
Yeah. So you can buy your own armor, and one of them is an infiltrator armor, which will cloak itself. One of them is, like, I use a blast armor, which is the heavy machine gun armor from the games, just because I'm still loud. I'm louder than I would normally be, and I'm kind of a little bit slower, but not much. But it absorbs enough bullets to kind of keep me in the game when I need to be kept in the game.
That's cool. I mean, it kind of rings like Blacklight Retribution to me, in that you can buy all these different guns.
Yeah, actually that does.
And things like that, and everybody kind of has their own custom loadout. Now, maybe this has been around for a while, because I don't play a lot of first-person shooters anymore. Yeah. I used to play a lot of Counter-Strike and a lot of...
It reminds me of like, we used to play a lot of Counter-Strike, so it reminds me of an evolved version of that, where in Counter-Strike, when you started the round, you had to go through and like very quickly buy out what you needed.
All your stuff, yeah. But now you can just be like, oh, I want loadout 1, loadout 2.
Yeah, and as you rank up, it opens up new loadouts. Yeah. So I've kind of spec'd one loadout to be a little bit more of a sniper class if I need it. I haven't really needed it at all yet.
Well, because the map isn't very big. Yeah. And there's not a lot of really long shots. Then there's like one little sniper spot, but it's not that great.
Yeah. There's actually after playing it for a while, I have like 2 or 3 sniper spots.
Yeah. But it's still, I mean, it's a good... So far in the beta, I mean, we're talking a beta game here. So any bugs that are there may just...
It's an open beta, so this is 90% done. We're testing the online infrastructure.
They're stress testing their servers, basically, and seeing what kind of issues show up from people using this on the bus versus wherever. Although I don't recommend playing this on the bus. If there's a single-player campaign to it, that would be too much. Trying to focus.
The single player, I've watched a couple of videos of the single player campaign, and I'm actually, because we've been over this before, I'm a big Killzone nerd. Yeah. I actually really like the series, so I'm really interested in seeing this side of the second Helgen War.
Now, is this a lead up to the new one?
No, not at all.
Is it just a complete side story, prequel type thing?
To relate to real world history, because it's actually incredibly easy to do.
Yeah.
The invasion of Vecta was Helgen War 1.
Okay.
So basically World War One.
Okay.
A lot of trenches and stuff in that. Where in fact the first 2 or 3 levels of the game is going through trenches and then going through an industrial area. So Killzone 2, everyone gets on Armada ships and goes and takes the battle to Helgen in Invasion. So that's basically the latter half of World War II.
Yeah, sounds about right.
The Helgen are just humans that have lived on... The Helghast are just humans that have lived on Helgen long enough to adapt to the environment and become evil-looking British space Nazis with giant orange blue blockers. So Killzone 3 then is analogous to the POW situation in World War II, and even more so the situation we ran into in Afghanistan. The Russians ran into in Afghanistan after the Cold War, and then we ran into Iraq in the Second Desert Storm War, where you're stuck somewhere with a rooted-in force, and they're coming to get you. The early days of the Second Desert Storm.
Okay.
So then, Killzone Shadowfall will be analogous to the Cold War in Berlin, and having this East and West Berlin so close to each other caused a lot of problems.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's neat. I didn't realize.
And then Mercenary takes place in between Helgen War 1 and Helgen War 2.
So it's already taken place in the mainline Killzone.
Yeah, in the mainline storyline. But the cool thing about Mercenary is you work for both sides.
Yeah.
Because it's
you're
like
a mercenary.
Yeah, whoever's going to buy your abilities.
That's cool. I mean, I don't know enough about.
And wingsuits. There are wingsuits, so everyone loves wingsuits.
Can't knock a wingsuit. Can you shoot while you're in the wingsuit?
It doesn't look like it. I watched a pretty long kill.
I mean, I guess it would be kind of hard to shoot while you're in a wingsuit.
And it looks like you can't even really control your wingsuit that much. It looks like it's just kind of like we're going to drop you into this level.
It's on a rail.
You're going to rail through this, but it looks cool, and it looked awesome for the Vita.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, it looks like a really interesting game. It looks like something neat. I probably won't pick it up for a while if I pick it up at all. You'll be buying it on day one.
I probably will, depending on the fundage situation, but I probably will.
Yeah.
I'm very interested in grabbing that on day one.
Yeah, it seems like it's a really neat game, and if you really want a first-person shooter that works well on your Vita, this is probably the game for you.
Yes.
The first Resistance game and the Call of Duty game apparently were not very good.
Yes. Well, I'm still interested in the first Resistance game because I also like the Resistance storyline.
Was it Burning Skies or something like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Huh. And I'm interested to see, because Burning Skies, the Vita one, is supposed to take place during the Chimerian invasion of the United States, which happened between Resistance 1 and Resistance 2. And it's kind of one of those things like, well, why didn't we play that? Like, that sounds like the much more interesting thing. Kind of like in this other game I've been playing this week, as we wrap up what we've been playing. I've been playing a lot of The Last of Us.
Oh, good. How far are you now?
We just went through, well, we just got into the hotel. So the gameplay demo that they showed from a couple years ago. And the whole...
I'm trying to think of where that is.
The whole country music song playing when you're on the truck and they ambush you. And
oh, yeah. Okay, so you already made it through the town with all the booby traps. And
yes.
You had to get the battery and all that.
I liked getting the truck started. I thought that was a very interesting gameplay choice. One of the things I really love about the game is how it endears you to Ellie. And
very
Joel.
early on. You're just like...
Well, you already care for Joel after the opening of that game, which is a freaking nut punch. But I like how it endears you to Ellie and shows you how Joel cares for her, even as he's very gruff in the gameplay.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I noticed if you're both behind cover and she moves next to you and then you move over her...
Yeah, he'll sit there
and, like, guard her, and she'll, like, crouch down. And
he'll be between her and any fire coming from behind.
Yeah, so it was very cool and very... Really,
but Naughty Dog
nice
Naughty Dog's always had those kinds of like really deep things. Like, you know, I remember seeing
the yaks in Uncharted 2.
Yeah, or when he's like running along the wall, he'll kind of drag his hand along the wall. That kind of like those real small details.
Moves into a tight spot, he'll put his hand against something to like push himself down as he gets through. Yeah. And Joel does the exact same thing.
Yeah, and it's a really neat. Like, they've done such a good job with this game, and I'm really glad that I picked it up as soon as I did.
Yeah.
I wish I didn't let you borrow it so I could replay some of those sections.
Well,
but you'll get it back to me eventually, right?
Well, this next weekend I'm gonna have a lot of time to play, so I'll be playing mostly Last of Us. I'm also playing Castle of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse, which we talked about last time, so I won't really go over it too much. When you pre-ordered Castle of Illusion HD, they gave you Castle of Illusion for Genesis.
Yeah.
So I've been playing through that and remembering how much I freaking loved it, and I'm really looking forward. It's making me look forward to HD even more.
Well, and this isn't like DuckTales. It's a reimagining, so the worlds are actually 3D. The puzzles are different. It's same concept redone. I mean,
it's still
going to
be a 2D. It's still going to be a 2D platformer, but it's going to be that 2.5D like Klonoa was and Tomba is.
And it looks really neat. So
yeah. So. It was also on show at Gamescom, which is why we're going to talk about this week. So Gamescom happened.
Yeah, lots of stuff happened at Gamescom.
Not so much on the Xbox side. Xbox's press conference was at like 4 o'clock in the morning our time.
Well, yeah. So they got a good spot in Germany, but they didn't get a good spot for U.S., which is their primary market.
Yeah.
You think they would have tried to push it for a later in the evening thing because the Sony one was at like 3 or 4 in the afternoon.
I think it was noon our time.
Yeah, so it was at a time when some people could actually watch it. I know Giant Bomb sat up and they talked over the press conference, which was kind of funny.
The crazy zooms.
Yeah, doing all the weird stuff. But yeah, the only thing I really saw out of the Microsoft press conference was they kind of made their push towards indies. They're like, oh look, now we're going to show that we care for the indie development community. We still don't like.
Well, the funniest thing so we'll talk more about the Microsoft press conference. But the funniest thing that I think about the indie thing was they brought up Mojang, and they said
Cobalt's going to be on the PS or on the Xbox One, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is in Minecraft. We're doing this big push for Minecraft. So we've got the big indies locked down, and they really discussed Minecraft. That big indies is kind of a weird discussion. I think we need to get rid of the indie term, and I think we just need to call them small developers because now it used to be indie publishing meant you were publishing without a established publisher.
Yeah.
Now you can self-publish, so.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. They're just small development houses.
Yeah, small dev houses.
And that would be something like under 15 people, I guess. I mean, I don't know what it would take to put out a game. Yeah. Like there's real small where it's just you and a buddy or you by yourself.
Super Meat Boy?
Yeah.
Guys?
Yeah, Super Meat Boy is like 2-3 guys working on a game. Yep.
But it was funny that Microsoft trotted out Notch. Not in person, but and said like, "Hey, we've locked down Minecraft exclusive on the Xbox One." Blah 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 blah. And then 6 hours later,
Sony comes out and goes, "Yeah, we're putting it on the PS3, the Vita, and the PS4."
Minecraft on PS3, PS4, and then PS Vita. And when they said PS Vita, like the crowd went nuts.
Well, yeah, because playing it on I played it on my phone, and it's a little difficult to get used to because you have to touch the screen because you get a little virtual D-pad and then you just kind of tap where the blocks go. The Vita, it's just like, all right, sweet, and you can tap where the blocks go still, but you then get a D-pad and sticks to look around.
So that was just weird, and it was kind of one of those other moments of I think Sony eating Microsoft's lunch. So the other thing Microsoft did, which I thought was very, very cool, was they said if you pre-order Xbox One, free copy of FIFA.
In Europe. Which is where they were, which is why they're doing a big thing for it. So,
which is totally big.
Yeah. You totally, if
FIFA's their Madden.
Yeah.
Also about football.
Just you actually use your feet in this one.
I don't understand sport. So we're talking about the thing of the Tecmo Bowl, that thing?
No. Soccer.
Oh, Mega Man Soccer. Yeah, I remember that one.
Mega Man Soccer. Except with real players. But it's FIFA is a big deal, and that's a great deal for people in Europe because they're always getting screwed on the cost of consoles anyway. Like 400 euros is not the same as $400.
That's true.
It's like 400 euros is what, like almost $500. It's a significant amount more. And I don't know if that's because of like export tariffs from the U.S. or what, but that's a great deal for them. Now the U.S. is going to be like, well, what do we get?
Well, they also announced a Ghosts bundle, which I'm
relatively
sure is also going to show up here.
Probably, yeah. That would be.
It is the Ghost. The important thing to know about the Ghosts bundle is that they haven't announced a price point for it yet, which means it's not going to be $500.
It'll probably be $550.
Yeah, you might $550. I would say would be a pretty decent.
You get $10 off the game if you buy it with the bundle, 360 or Xbox One.
And you'll probably get like a special limited edition skin for your console or something.
Yeah,
Activision always does weird.
Got some stickers to put on your box for you.
They always do weird crap like that. That like this is shit you were never going to use. Like I think in my bag right now I probably have Call of Duty Black Ops 2 dog tags that I picked up from somewhere.
Okay.
A friend of a friend. Anyway, that's why they're still in the bag. Anyway, so. It's very weird, and then of course the initial shot back of the bow is, oh hey, buy a PlayStation 4 and a copy of Vita and save $40. a copy of FIFA and save $40.
And save $40. I thought you said a copy of Vita, and I'm like...
I probably did.
You
I'm
did.
thinking too fast.
That's weird.
So, but it was a good get for Microsoft.
Yeah.
It shows they're digging into that European market. It
Which
shows that...
They need.
It shows that Microsoft and EA still holding hands, skipping gayfully into the future.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's a smart move for Microsoft, right?
Yes.
Like,
And it's a smart move for EA.
Sony's probably not going to give away a free copy of FIFA when you buy a PS4 in Europe.
No.
But with the PS4 being $100 less, you can buy the system and get the game for less than what it would cost you to get an Xbox One. So it's a really good move for them.
It's only with pre-orders though. So if you're watching this and you're in Europe, hi, and
thanks for watching.
If you want that deal, you do have to pre-order.
Yeah. So you better start plunking down.
But that's big. I mean, it shows that Microsoft is going to try and build the kind of grassroots, competitive, what we call bro gamer culture in Europe.
Yeah, but maybe it's just me. I mean, I know those people probably exist everywhere, right?
Yes.
Like you've got your guys who just want to play, soccer or football. American football or soccer.
Just call football.
Football in general, either type, and shooters. Yeah, footy and. Those guys probably exist in Europe, right?
I always thought
they just want to play Call of Duty and play their next
thing.
FIFA.
Playing footy.
Just like we have the guys that want to play the new Madden and the new Call of Duty.
But it does a good job, and like I said, it shows Microsoft's trying to build that online infrastructure.
They are trying to get people in Europe to buy their console because that was one of the markets where they did abysmal.
Yeah, well, except for Britain, but
yeah, they did fine.
They did
Europe
okay in
overall.
Britain, but in Europe overall, they definitely got smashed by the PS3. Even though they did get smashed by the PS3 in Britain, it wasn't by such a large margin.
And then in Japan, it was like, what the hell is an Xbox 360?
Yeah, so they did announce that it's only launching in 13 territories
instead of the initial 26 or 27. I remember them saying it'll be international in 26.
Yeah, so they're saying you can go to one of these 13 territories, buy an Xbox One, and take it to another one, and it might work, it might not.
Well.
So
it's not. It may or may not be region free. They haven't.
But they didn't announce a release date.
No, they did not give us.
I thought we would totally hear.
Yeah, we should have heard that. Like I think that's something that we should have heard, and I think Sony jumped on that and went, "Hey, guess what, guys?
Yeah."
Because now, with the release date of November 15th.
November 15th.
That's a Friday. That's two Fridays. Yeah, it's a Friday.
Oh.
So it's a Thursday night midnight.
I gotta remember to take some time off. I still haven't pre-ordered my PS4, so I probably won't be getting it for a few weeks.
Yeah, no, I won't get one until early next year, probably.
Well,
just to let the first batch go out to make sure that we don't get any red ring equivalents.
I'm definitely getting it before Christmas.
It depends on how much money I have banked up at GameStop.
Well, we'll see.
Point. But yeah,
I mean,
so anyway.
It's not a contest. It's not a race.
It might be.
You're going to come over and play on my PS4. Like,
I'm going to be all like, oh my God, I need one of these now. Why am I playing Ass Creed 4 on the PS3 when I could be playing it on the PS4?
Yeah, it's no biggie. But, so Sony said...
Their release date is November 15th.
They locked that in.
So now Microsoft either has to come out before that, which they've locked in November.
Yes.
So they've got 2 weeks before the 15th to come... 1 week. No, they have 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
They have 2 weeks before.
There are 7 days in a week.
Yes, I understand this. But they have a couple weeks before, and then they have 1 week between that day and Black Friday to come out. And they will not come out on Black Friday.
It will not come out on Black Friday, and...
It probably won't come out before the PS4.
It probably won't come out before the
PS4.
PS4.
Which leads me to think that they're either going to do it the week after the PS3, which would be PS4, and which would be in my mind a bad move because now their competition's been out for a week.
Well, it's funny that Sony.
So it's either they come out on the same day or they come out the week after.
So and Sony planted the flag and said this is the week we're taking. They could have taken the week before. They could not have taken 2 weeks before at the start of November because that's when Call of Duty launches, and you're like we're just not going to fight.
But
that.
here's the thing. Maybe Sony doesn't have an official Call of Duty bundle, but retailers will.
Oh yeah, it's true.
So retailers would have a
GameStop
Call of Duty.
already has it.
Yeah. So that would actually be a better time to launch. Would be the first week of November to launch with the new Call of Duty. Play the new Call of Duty first on the new consoles.
No. Here's why. Because the stores are going to be flooded with people only going to get Call of Duty. It's why if you have if you have Amazing Spider-Man to release as a movie, you don't release it in the same month as Avengers. Because there's a superhero movie then that's going to eat up all my potential dollars. I want to let that audience cool down and come back later.
Come back a month later. I mean, there's ups and downs to both of them.
Well,
right?
and I think if I were in charge of Sony, I would have moved up the release to November 8th.
The Friday before that.
Yes.
One week before the one that they're doing.
Basically, because it would have helped Microsoft. It would have given Microsoft a time to launch before Black Friday.
Well, they still have 1 week.
Yes, they still have 1 week. And Sony, as Sony moving theirs from the 8th to the 15th, has locked Microsoft into that 1 week. You must launch then, sometime during that week.
Or they launch the week before the PS4. Like, that's the trick. They have to figure out when they want to launch, because they've said November. Sony could have launched at the end of October if they really wanted to. They could have said, it's going to be out on Halloween.
I was really hoping for an October release date.
And that would have been awesome.
Yes.
But that's not going to, obviously that's not going to happen now.
No.
So yeah, Sony kind of, pooped in Microsoft's playbox or sandbox, and now Microsoft has to figure out when they're going to launch, and...
So now, the question is, does Microsoft have enough? Because we already know Microsoft doesn't have as much for sale stock as Sony does. But do they have enough to launch that week before Sony and not get crunched?
I don't know.
With Sony launching on that Friday, if Xbox launched on the Tuesday before, which would be the 8th, 7th, 6th, 5th, if Microsoft launched on the 5th of
Are you talking about the Tuesday after Call of Duty launches?
Yes, that would be a week after Call of Duty launches. That would be Microsoft's probably best opportunity, and it's still a bad opportunity.
Yeah.
But we'll see. And the other thing is they didn't announce a release date, so they're going to announce a release date at Tokyo Game Show.
They have to.
Where no one's going to listen. Because it's not even launching in Japan.
No, it won't even. That's not even one of the territories it's going to come out at. So they should have done something in Germany. They can't. Yeah. Saying something in Japan isn't going to do them any good.
Microsoft said November 15th we're launching, and then Sony would have to gone back to the books and gone, okay, well now where do we fit? But with Sony launching in that 2 weeks after Call of Duty, 2 weeks before Black Friday, they're like, we're now sitting in the middle of the road.
You have to go one way or the other, and both ways look really, really bad.
Yes. Well, Black Friday looks a lot worse than Call of Duty. So the problem with launching that close to Black Friday is, do you have the retail stock to get in the stores? 2, there's going to be Black Friday bundles on PlayStation 3, on Xbox 360, on all these other things.
Yeah.
How do you get your message up above all that din of, oh my God, everything is on sale?
So unless they announce a pre-launch price cut,
you can get an iPhone. You can get an iPhone
5,
6,
I don't think the 6s are out yet.
Okay, whatever the new iPhone is, you can get an iPhone 5. Like, how does Microsoft get above all that din? And part of that din is going to be, hey, PlayStation 4 bundles. PlayStation 4 bundles is far. Here's a PlayStation 4 bundle with NAC, an extra controller, and a Move controller, so you can play it with the Move and a camera.
And the new camera, yeah.
And here's another bundle.
It's $500, but it comes with all the stuff.
Yeah, here's another bundle. Here's another bundle. Here's a $500 bundle that comes with Playroom, an extra controller, and the camera. Here you go. Which would basically be Microsoft's machine.
Yeah.
So how does Microsoft get above all that noise? And if they go the week after PlayStation, by being that Friday the 15th...
My thing is, if they go after the week after Sony...
They're dead.
Some people will have already bought, who are going to buy both systems, will have already spent $400 on the PS3 or PS4, so they would then have to wait either a month or two to save it up, or a couple more months. So they would be after Christmas, after the holidays. So
the other big thing they announced launch lineups and launch window titles.
Yeah, Microsoft.
I think we're still in the Vita's launch window.
No,
we're definitely still in the Wii U's launch window.
Yeah, well, the Wii U's might as well be going away. But
Nintendo didn't say much at Gamescom, which was totally weird.
Yeah,
they did show they were like, "Hey, Wind Waker HD Hero Mode," and
anything good, anything new?
Is there a special edition Wind Waker HD?
Yeah. Wii U. Do I get a gold Wii U?
They were like, it showed. It was funny because they showed at the end of this Hero trailer, they showed a black Wii U that had special decals around the screen and stuff, and I was like, "Oh, Wind Waker Special Edition, that's cool." They didn't say anything about it.
No. Well, it might be a Japan-only thing.
Maybe.
Like that, which really kind of sucks, because I would like that. If I was going to buy a Wii U, if that ever happens.
In that alternate reality?
Yeah, in that reality when...
Andy is going to get a Wii U.
Eventually.
It may be...
It might be when it's a $99 thing at Walmart.
Yeah, maybe in 2018 when it's $99 with 2 games.
Yeah.
All
and
you people,
two Wii U controllers.
all you people thinking that's not going to happen ever, GameCube.
I mean, the Wii is $100 now.
Well,
The Wii's been $100 for a long time. Though.
GameCube was $99 with Metroid Prime and Wind Waker, which are like the two best games. Anyway, so they announced their launch lineups and their launch window lineups. So
there's a lot of games like. I think Microsoft has a larger launch, like on-day launch library than the PS3 or PS4
by a few
does.
titles, yes.
By a couple of titles. But I think I like the games that are coming out on the PS4 better.
Yes.
Like I mean, they both have like
The only thing that
Watch
I think,
Dogs and Assassin's Creed and all that.
The only thing I think is missing from the PS4's launch that Xbox has is Xbox has a fighting game. They have that Killer Instinct.
Yeah, they have the Killer Instinct free-to-play or
microtransaction.
pay $20 and get it all.
And so I think that's the only thing that Sony is missing. And I think if Sony came out
It said Street Fighter 5.
at TGS and said, "Hey, what is it? It's Ultra Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition.
Super Ultra Street. I don't know what that is. The new version of Street Fighter 4.
And they said, "Hey, it's on the PS3. I mean,
Or
PS4. And it's going to be
a timed
February.
exclusive or something.
February or something."
Yeah.
That's the one thing I think that I like that Sony did was they said Infamous Second Son, which is obviously going to be the next big exclusive for the PlayStation 4 after Killzone, Shadowfall, and Knack. They're like, "Hey, Infamous Second Son in March."
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
it won't be out this year. It'll be out early next year.
Yeah, they were like, well, they said in March.
Yeah.
2014. And
What year is it?
Yeah. What year is it? No.
1984. Who's the president? I don't know.
I'm about to leap. Where am I? Anyway. Oh God. Anyway. Marty, it's your parents.
No.
It's your kids, Marty. It's your kids.
So we've already talked about what Microsoft did.
So
and what Sony gave us a launch date. And then they also announced something that we've been talking about, something they needed to do for a very long time, was give the Vita a price cut.
Yeah, they give the Vita a price cut across all territories. They price cut on memory cards, which clearly...
They didn't give us actual numbers on the memory cards?
Well, they did.
They did?
Not during the press conference, but they did.
I was going to say, like during the press conference, they didn't say, they said, we're going to drop the prices on the memory cards.
So
but now it's like...
The 4 gig is like $15 or $10. It's super cheap.
Yeah.
The 8 gig is 20. The 16 gig is 40.
And the
32 gig is
like
80.
Instead of being 100.
Which is weird because the 32 gig got a $20 price cut. The 16 gig got a $20 price cut.
The other two weren't really that much to begin with.
Yeah.
So
it was just weird that the 32 they didn't move that $80 number down to like 60 or something.
65.
And I think it's kind of Sony's way of saying like, get the 16 gig.
Yeah, the 16 gig is more than enough. That's what I have on my Vita.
Yeah.
And I have to clear stuff off because obviously there's just a lot of games.
So much stuff. I feel bad for Gravity Rush. It's the game I always clear off.
Yeah. Why do you keep downloading it though?
I know. Well, I always think like, I'll play Gravity Rush,
and
then
I play
it
you
for
don't.
a bit, and then it's like, okay.
I need room, bye.
Yeah.
But you bought a 16, right?
My parents got me.
You got a 16.
I'm a spoiled brat.
Last year. It's okay. I think I bought a 16 because I traded in a bunch of crap.
So price cuts on the memory cards. Infamous coming out in March, which shows that Sony learned their lesson with the Vita. They're like, Vita launched in the end of February, and Unit 13 came out in April, and then nothing came out from Sony until Gravity Rush came out in late June, early July. Yeah. So I think they kind of realized, like, we need to space this out a bit. And, the order looks like it will be next Christmas.
The 1886 or whatever.
1886. So it shows that Sony's kind of learning from the Wii U's mistake of, we're going to space this a bit.
They need to space out their exclusives for every console. If you've got two consoles running like Sony and Nintendo do, where you've got your portable and you've got your home console, you kind of need to, January's home, February's a Vita game, so on and so forth. And you tear it,
there are Vita games slated for next summer. There are indie games that are going to come out throughout the year.
Which Rogue Legacy on the Vita.
Dude, if Rogue Galaxy came out on the Vita,
right?
I would lose my shit. I would throw caution to the wind and run naked through the streets screaming, Rogue Galaxy's on the Vita. Rogue Galaxy's on the Vita.
But Rogue Legacy on the Vita makes a lot of sense. Like when I was playing on the PC,
Dave won't shut up about.
Well, I haven't really played it much after that first couple of weeks, but still, it's a really fun game, and I think it would do well because your average playthrough, unless you're just really trying to not die, like if you're just screwing around, is like 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I think 5 to 10 minutes, if you're sitting at lunch or if you're on the bus or whatever,
Spelunky.
or Spelunky and things like that. Like these are games that you can play for 10 or 15 minutes and get somewhere.
That's why I'm right now they're doing a Vita sale this month where like DiveKick's on sale, next week Spelunky's on sale, something's on sale after that, and the end of it's Dragon Fantasy Book 2. And I really wish Dragon Fantasy Book 2 came with Book 1 when you bought it.
Yeah, because you don't want to pay $8 for one.
Because I really like I've paid attention to that the story of the developer, like how he made it, why he's making it, and I really want to play it. But at the same time, like I don't have the time.
Yeah, you need a lot of time to play through a game like that.
And I don't have the money. Like no offense to the guy that made Dragon Fantasy, I really want to play your game, but I also Spelunky is really fun. Really want to take Spelunky on the go, and I'll probably go for Dragon Fantasy. We'll see. I definitely went for DiveKick. I didn't think I'd go for DiveKick, but then on Tuesday, my Twitter feed lit up with people playing DiveKick.
Oh yeah, DiveKick is
and I was just like,
silly.
I can't ignore DiveKick.
And part of the thing with DiveKick is, and this is back to what we were talking about like 30 minutes ago, is it's a parody. Like all the characters are parodies of other characters. So like Dive and Kick are yin and yang.
Yeah.
And then S-Kills is supposed to be Seth Killian, and they like say goofy stuff when they die. And
I like the loading screens that give you tips on life.
No, they don't. They have nothing to do with the game. They're just like, you probably shouldn't leave milk out on the table. Thanks, Dave Lang.
So Microsoft came out and showed a couple indies. They showed Mojang and Notch, which at this point I don't know that they're that indie.
No, they're kind of a big thing.
Sony came out and said like, this is on PS3, PS4, and Vita. This is on PS3, PS4, and Vita. Mercenary Kings on
There's
PS3,
all these
PS4,
games that are
and
coming
Vita.
out on all of their platforms.
Yeah.
And not to mention the whole, and we've talked this to death, but the whole every PS4 game you can play on your Vita makes it...
And they actually showed off that remote play functionality.
with Assassin's Creed 4,
Assassin's
right?
Creed.
Like he was running and then he
What I really wish they would have
switched.
done with that is shown you what menu you need to drop. Like, do I hit the PlayStation button, it brings up like send to Vita.
Yeah, they didn't show that interface
I really wish
setting.
because they showed a lot of the interface.
But maybe he was playing it on the Vita the whole time, and then he just hit one of the buttons on the Vita, one of the face buttons, and it switched over to the Vita, and then I guess whoever took over the TV.
Yeah.
But it was really neat. Like it runs well. It looks great. Because I'm guessing all the horsepower, all the processing time is being done on the PS4, and then they're just sending a compressed video stream to your Vita.
For all the 3DS people that are like, oh, Vita has no games, Vita's about to get a lot of games, and not games for the Vita. They're about to get like full AAA.
Yeah, they're going to get
titles.
games that. Yeah, and granted, you'll only be able to play PS4 games
in your
at
house.
home.
Yes.
And
I'm
probably
hoping the PS4 has enough Wi-Fi oomph to get up to my bedroom on the second floor.
You might need to run a hard cable. But
But I got Google Fi.
even if it works in your even if it only works in the room that you're sitting in with your PS4, that is a huge bump, because then I can be playing Assassin's Creed 4 on my couch on my Vita while my wife watches her shows.
So one of the big things they announced for the Vita was Borderlands 2. So what I'm hoping, because I've stayed away from Borderlands 2 because I really love Borderlands, and there's been the rumor for a long time that Borderlands was coming to the Vita. And I'm really hoping that I can play Borderlands on my Vita against, or like have you come over and sit down and play Borderlands on the PS3 or 4, and we can play in the same game together.
I'm gonna get it for the Vita, so we'll be able to do it anyway. Because I loved Borderlands 2. I like the goofiness of Borderlands and the Diablo style guns that pop out. It's just like, hey, look, a random pistol that shoots fire.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun with math in that game.
Yeah, there is.
Numbers pop up, and you're like, yay!
You can get green and red and blue numbers instead of just white ones and big yellow ones that crit.
They announced some exclusives for the Vita. Murasaki Baby looks really creepy.
Yeah, it does. The head's upside down.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, this game looks really cute, and then the
girl smiled, and you're like,
oh, it's upside down.
The head's upside down. It's creepy.
So we're going forward with Tearaway. The Vita is going to have a really strong year. I think Gamescom, a lot like Gamescom last year was the showcase for the Vita. I think this was also a showcase for the Vita and for the PS4 and how they play well together.
Yeah, and I'm really excited about this next year. I'm glad I got a Vita for Christmas last year, even though those first few months was, okay, I'm going to play the same 2 or 3 games, and then the free stuff that comes from PlayStation Plus.
Yeah,
which is still, that's a pretty good way to go. But with this next year, there's all kinds of games that I've already been playing on my PC. Like all these little indie titles that are coming to the Vita. Freaking awesome. Give them to me. Because I want to take Rogue Legacy. God, I keep saying Rogue Galaxy.
You keep saying Rogue Galaxy, and I'm just thinking of...
Hey, you know what? Maybe if we say Rogue Galaxy on the Vita enough, Sony will hear it and they'll make it.
Will be like, hey, remember that game
we should remake Rogue Galaxy for the Vita because we're getting Final Fantasy X and X-2 at the end of the year, so
yeah,
I might buy 10 just so I can play it all the way through on the go.
If they both come on a card and I find it,
I don't think they'll be on a single card, and they might be, but I don't think so.
If they come on a card and I find it on sale, I'll buy it. I'd buy both of those games on sale for $20 or less.
Yeah, it might be 2 cards.
On a card.
I think it might be 2 cards. Because when you think about it, 10 was on a DVD, and a DVD is 4 to 8 gigs. So those cards we figure are about 4 gigs a piece.
Yeah,
we don't know really, but we figure they're about 4 gigs.
We'll see.
Yeah.
So we'll be back next week. We don't know what we'll be talking about. We'll be talking about something.
Yeah, probably video games.
That sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
Don't forget to spay and neuter your Pokemon, everybody.